Hello, and welcome to show number 2331 of Eyes on Success, a weekly program covering a wide variety of topics of interest to people with vision loss. I'm Nancy Goodman Torpey.
And I'm Pete Torpey.
Where are you doing up here? Sorry. Get down. Come on. Sorry. The dog just found the cat.
Oh, geez.
Get out. Okay, sorry. Go on.
Yeah, we'll delete the dog. Just don't tell the dog we're deleting the dog.
When we do interviews, they don't always come out perfectly as recorded. We do a substantial amount of editing. And this week, we'll hear some of what got taken out of previous shows.
So sit back and enjoy some laughs with us as we enjoy some summer fun by sharing some of these humorous, but maybe not so professional moments that never made it into the show. But first, for our tip of the week. This week's tip is, hey, we all make mistakes, but none of them are so bad that we can't recover from them. And sometimes we can even get something positive out of the mistakes we make.
It's really great that we get a chance to edit this show because you'll be hearing some stuff that didn't make the final cut, but is sometimes a little bit funny. And it'll give you some insight into how we make the show and what goes on and what kind of stuff doesn't make it into the show. Support for Eyes on Success is provided by
Inclusive, an e-learning platform built for the blind community to learn technology, occupational, and career skills to help you reach your employment goals. More information is at www.clusive.io. That's www.clusiv.io.
You are listening to Eyes on Success. Success, 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 success.
Instead of introducing our guest at this point, we're going to introduce the show.
Well, as you know, the show is Eyes on Success, and if you're looking for it, you can find it as a podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. You can also use it on your smart devices by saying, play the Eyes on Success podcast. That's kind of fun.
You can find the entire searchable archive of over 700 unique episodes on our website at www.eyesonsuccess.net. We also post every episode to Facebook, X, which used to be Twitter, YouTube.
So it's easy to find the show. And if you're looking for us, if you have comments, suggestions, ideas for future shows, you can contact us by sending an email to hosts@eyesonsuccess.net.
Support for Eyes on Success is made possible in part by our corporate partners.
Find out more about partnership opportunities by sending an email to hosts@eyesonsuccess.net.
This week's focus topic is a collection of gems, maybe, that we have deleted from previous shows. Fortunately, we don't do this show live because every once in a while something interrupts the recording that we cannot remove with simple editing, but we can always re-ask the question. Here we were asking Access Anna about her recently published book about Android accessibility.
Now on Tap is a very new feature. It was introduced in Android 6.0 Marshmallow. Hold on.
Oops.
Let's see, we pulled the plug on this. Oh, good. Someone answered. Oh, nope, they did not. Okay, we're good. All right.
Well, I guess that didn't make it to the final show for obvious reasons, but it's an example of some of the things that can happen when we're doing an interview. And that was one of the minor ones compared to what you'll be hearing next.
Sometimes it's a family member who wanders in the middle of the interview. In this instance, we were speaking with Ken Perry and Josh Mealy about electronics when Josh's teenage son got hungry.
I had my mom and dad or my brother put stuff together, and I'd take them apart, and I'd here I am 46 and I have my parents come over at Christmas to build stuff for me. But that's how I built my first activity bot. My younger brother helped me just
We're getting
read
a
the
bunch of
instructions.
noise in the background. I don't know from what.
Sounds
that
like
was somebody
someone's in a
from
kitchen.
Yeah, Ben, you got to stop doing that.
Sorry, Ben.
Well, he couldn't
You gotta-
scream anything. He needs to eat.
Come on,
Yeah.
Dad.
Yeah. You're making too much noise. You got to stop.
I'll try and like that.
Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
That's all right.
Okay, I'm back.
I thought you fell off the chair.
No,
Yes.
I had to go explain something.
Sometimes the problem is assistive technology that gets in the way. Here we were interviewing Michael Forzano as he was describing how the accessible RS games were made.
So there are different messages that the server will send, for example, to play a sound or speak a message through the screen reader or display a list of items.
12:17 p.m.
Oops.
12:17.
There's just so much stuff you can make be quiet at the same time.
Yeah, that was the iPad. Yeah, it was. Hold on.
Our whole house talks also. And sometimes those devices just perk up at very inopportune times, but that's the way it goes. So we've learned to turn off our office sounds and other sounds that our computer makes when we're doing interviews because we don't want our computer to interrupt. But that wasn't the worst we had. What else do we have?
Well, sometimes people seem to have trouble with their microphones, getting them turned on or off. A couple of months ago, we did a multi-way Skype call with Dean Blasey, Jim Fruchterman, and Ted Henter about their roles developing breakthrough assistive technology. Here they are trying to get their microphones to work. I have one more piece of bookkeeping. We've got all three of you on the same channel, and somebody is making some clicking noises. And because you're sharing a channel, if one of you's talking and the other one's clicking, we can't get rid of that. So if you could all three just kind of try to be a little quieter, we would appreciate it.
Yeah, I heard that.
Picky, picky, picky.
So I'm trying to figure out how to mute. Can you hear me? I'm muted.
Yeah,
Yes.
perfectly well.
Mute didn't
can
work
hear
so
ya.
well. But actually, you turned on your video feed.
You're right. I'm going to mute it.
Oh, now we don't hear anything. You got muted.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Got this technology figured out.
Well, they got their microphones and cameras worked out, and then we ran into a problem with the headphones. Can you start by introducing yourself?
Hi, I'm Jim Fruchterman, founder of Benetech, originally called Arkenstown. I've been running these organizations for 26 years.
That was quick.
Wait a minute.
Well, I'm happy to expand.
What?
I lost audio.
Hold on. There.
Oh.
Sorry. Say something else.
Something else.
Oh, that's
Okay.
much better. It turns out we were still crossed on whose knob was whose.
She turned down my audio, and I thought we lost you there.
Yeah, and you
Okay.
turned mine up, and it was blasting my ears.
Oh, okay.
We'll get this worked out.
Well, that was a really fun interview we did with Ted Henter, Dean Blasey, and Jim Fruchterman. And, as you saw there, sometimes we have equipment problems, too. There was actually once when we did the whole interview, but our recording equipment didn't record Phil Muir when we were recording him, and we just had our side of the interview after talking for about an hour. Fortunately, Phil is an audio production person, and he had recorded the whole thing, both sides. So he sent us his half, and then we merged them all together later on. So you can recover from some mistakes, as Nancy pointed out earlier.
I think the most unusual mishap we had with our microphone was when somebody's guide dog tried to eat the microphone.
You give a little bit of a piece away every time you write, and so you need to live actively because you're going to...
Excuse me.
No,
The
lay down.
guide dog's trying to lick the recorder.
Go lay down.
That's a first.
That's the first. We haven't had that one before. Here, I'll block over here.
I
Go lay
was
down.
doing that.
Okay.
We'll delete that. Hopefully.
And of course, we did delete that. And fortunately, the guide dog didn't actually eat the recorder. It's safer to do interviews on Skype sometime, I guess.
Sometimes we all get the equipment working, but we have a little trouble coming up with answers to questions. We always ask guests about their social media presence, but they don't all use it. Here's Tom Schultz, a blind software engineer, getting asked a typical question.
Do you have a website?
I don't. I really probably should, but I don't have one.
Are you on social media?
Well, no, I was on Facebook for a while, but it turned out to be quite I mean, it looked like a lot of time to stay involved with it.
Yeah.
And so many people were sending me stuff, and and then I felt bad because I wouldn't even go in for a week. And apparently with Facebook, you're supposed to look at it a few times a day. So I don't.
Yeah, I sometimes get these notices on my phone. You have 94 notifications on Facebook that you haven't looked at. Yeah. Thanks.
Do you want to share your LinkedIn profile?
Oh, I do have one.
You do. It's extensive.
Oh, I don't. Wait a minute. Are you teasing me?
No, I'm looking at it.
She searches on the phone for these contacts if people don't know them.
Oh! You found? Oh, I thought you said it's. I thought you said it's expensive.
Oh,
you
no,
said
no.
It's extensive.
EXTEN.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you've got like your whole CV up there and all your languages, and you sound like a terrific embedded software programmer if anybody wants to hire you.
Well, maybe not everybody knows about their own presence on social media, but we can generally find it out.
As you heard with Tom, he didn't have all of his detailed contact information on hand easily, and there are plenty of other people with whom similar things have happened. Here's Doug Anslevar from the Hadley Institute. Before they changed their name, they were still called the Hadley School at this point. Does the Hadley School have a Twitter feed?
We do. We do. We're trying to break into social media.
Okay, what is it?
Okay, hold on. I'm going to get that up here. Okay, here, our Twitter, it's this is what I have for us. It's www.twitter.com/The Hadley School.
Okay, so the hip way to say that?
Yes, tell me.
You're going to have to repeat this. At the Hadley School.
At the Hadley School.
Okay, great. So we will also tweet to you when this show airs.
Great, and we will retweet, I'm sure.
That's the plan.
All right. So as you can tell, not only do we learn a lot from the many people we interview around the world, but sometimes they learn from us also.
Well, here's Ken Perry again, talking about the Orbit Reader 20 this time, and we ran into other problems with him getting his contact information straight. Do you have email addresses for Orbit Research and APH?
So the contacts for Orbit Research would be if you go to their website at www.orbitresearch.com, and they have contact information on their page.
Do you want that phone number?
Yeah, no, I'll just give him Venkatesh's cell phone and tell him to call at 3 a.m. Sure. If you got a phone number, that's fine.
Yeah, their phone number is 888-606-7248.
Okay. To get a hold of Orbit Research, which is the people who created the device for us, you can call them at 1-888-606-7246.
Oh, 7248.
Ah!
You can just repeat the last four and I'll splice it.
Okay. 7248. That's the best way to probably call them. But you can also go to their website at www.orbitresearch.com. For American Printing House, I think I've already gave you that. So.
Did he give us an email?
No, I don't think so.
An email?
Yeah.
Shoot. Let me think on this one.
Oh, I'll get it for you in a minute. For email, what I found was info@aph.org.
Where are you doing up here? Sorry. Get down. Come on. Sorry. The dog just found the cat.
Oh, geez.
Get out. Okay, sorry. Go on.
Yeah, we'll delete the dog. Just don't tell the dog we're deleting the dog.
You know, sometimes it's hard to figure out who's being interviewed, us or the people that we're interviewing. And I guess it's nice to know that a dog can easily be deleted. Sounds like a horrible thing, but maybe it isn't so bad if it's just on digital formats.
As with some of these other instances, we not infrequently have to look up answers for people when we ask a question and they don't happen to know the answer. Here's Debbie McLeod from the Colorado Talking Book Library.
So we've talked previously about the Bard mobile app, which is awesome. Can you remind people what that stands for? Well, if you can't, that's fine. I'll just drop the question.
Yeah. Well, Bard, I don't really. I think it's. I
was trying to think too.
Bard stands for Book at Braille and Recorded.
I can't.
Download. I don't know. So you'll have to erase this whole part.
Question.
I know, it's just terrible. I can't remember. So I should...
Hold on, we're about to get the answer.
I should, but yes.
We might not be about to get the answer. Braille and audio reading download.
She had it.
Okay.
So why don't you ask the question again?
And you might be interested to know that as we do these interviews, Nancy is often sitting there with her iPhone when we're doing the interview over Skype on our PC. And if people don't know the answer, she's constantly checking information on her iPhone, getting resources, links, email address, URLs that way, and often feeding them to the people we're interviewing. So somehow it all works out, and even though we have to do a little bit of juggling.
Yeah, and while I'm doing that, I'm also paying attention to the interview and thinking about maybe what next question I want to ask and running the sound equipment. So fortunately, I can multitask, if that's the polite way of phrasing it.
So what else do we have in our bag of outtakes here?
Well, the next mistake was ours, but sometimes we get lucky and catch the error as soon as we make it. Here we were introducing a show with Eve Anderson about accessibility efforts and progress at Google.
This week on Eyes on Success, we'll be talking with Eve Anderson, who is the manager of the accessibility engineering team at Xerox.
No.
Let's try this again. This week on Eyes on Success, we'll be talking with Eve Anderson, who is the manager of the accessibility engineering team at Google. Well, I guess you have to watch out. You don't get a job change without planning it sometimes.
Sometimes we've had fewer microphones than people, and although we've gotten better at handling that situation, it can lead to some, shall we say, logistical confusion. We were doing an in-person interview with Dave Wilkinson from HIMSS in his hotel room when he was in Rochester because he was here to show some products to some prospective customers.
Peter, I'm handing you the EZ. That's the top right there with the little power button.
Hold on a second. We need to rearrange ourselves. Can we put the two of you closer to each other?
Where do you want to go here? Here, I'm just going to stand over
Dave,
here.
why don't you sit on the bed? I'll sit in the chair, and then you'll both be audible to each other.
All right, let's do it.
If we can do that.
Okay, you want to hand me this again here? Okay, all right.
For transitions.
Okay, go ahead.
Continue. You have more.
As you've heard, we don't always get it right the first time, or even the second time, but we keep being told that one of the things that keeps this show sounding so fresh is that although we outline each episode before recording it, we don't prepare what either of us is planning to say. Sometimes the other one gets caught by surprise. Here we were talking with Dirk Price and John Brode about, well, you'll hear about what. Hello, I'm Nancy.
And I'm Pete. You know, we've been doing this show for nearly 7 years now, every week, and interviewing people around the world with vision problems and talking about the remarkable things they've done. People driving cars without being able to see, people doing woodworking, and all kinds of activities. But the people we'll be talking to today have done something that I've never really thought a person who is blind would do.
Hunt.
And now what are you going to say?
Oh, God. Well,
what was the blurb? We'll be talking with?
Yeah. Okay. I have to quit laughing. No,
you do.
Hunt. Dirk Price was an avid hunter, but then his vision failed, and he discovered a way that he could continue to hunt. And we will be speaking with both him and Dr. John Broad, president of the Physically Challenged Bow Hunters of America.
I guess Nancy wasn't quite prepared for what I was going to say, and then she wasn't sure how to add to that. But eventually we get it right with a little editing.
And we just keep trying and keep correcting and keep deleting the junk until we hopefully finally get it right. Here we were trying to start a show in which we interviewed Scott White about the NFB Newsline mobile app.
This week on Eyes on Success, we'll talk about how you can obtain accessible formats of many magazines, periodicals, and... This week on Eyes on Success, we'll be talking about how you can get access to accessible versions of numerous periodicals and magazines.
Aren't periodicals magazines?
This week on Eyes on Success, we'll be talking about how you can obtain accessible... Wow. All right, this is the last time. This week on Eyes on Success, we'll be talking about how you can obtain... God.
You sure that's the last time? And don't sound like you're having fun either.
No, I don't want to do that. Okay, let's give this another shot. This week on Eyes on Success, we'll be talking about how you can get access to magazines and newspapers in an accessible format. I didn't think we were ever going to get past the introduction of that show, but I guess we finally made it, and the show finally aired, didn't it?
We've gotten through lots of beginnings since then.
But wait, there's more.
Oh, that's exactly what this next clip is. Sometimes surprising tidbits pop up even after we think we're done with the interview. We've learned to ask, is there anything we missed, after somebody surprised us in an early interview. Here's Ty Thompson with his surprising response when we were talking with him about blind golfing. Is there anything we missed?
Yes. Would you like to hear about my hole-in-one?
Oh.
Absolutely.
Hold on. This needs a question. Not sure what the question is. Were there any moments in your golfing that you're particularly proud of?
As a matter of fact, yes. I had my first hole-in-one 3 years ago, and it was a really exciting moment. It has a lot of jocularity to it as well. My coach lined me up on the hole, and I went ahead and stroked it, and he's describing, oh, great, right along the line I wanted you to be on. It said, it's landed on the green, and then there's dead silence. And two of the other guys on the tee box go, I saw it. It went in. The other, yeah, it did. It went in. And I go down there, and he tells me, left. And so I find the pin, and I stick my hand in. Sure enough, there's a ball in the hole.
Holy mackerel.
I was so excited. Then my coach comes up with the other two guys and says, hey, that's pretty cool. Too bad it doesn't count. I'm like, what do you mean it doesn't count? He says, well, heck, you didn't see it go in. I said, that does it. No drinks at the 19th hole for any of you guys.
That's pretty cool.
You know, much as we try to research the topic or the person we're interviewing before the interview actually happens so we can ask some intelligent questions, there is often a surprise like that. So we keep the recorder rolling.
And one way or the other, we always manage to have fun, and we hope our guests do also.
Do you have more?
If you've been to our website or our Facebook page or our Twitter feed, you'll know that we create a title and a summary for every episode. What you might not know is that for a few stations, we actually create an audio promo for them to air during the week or so before each episode gets aired on their radio reading service. Well, they're only 30 seconds long, and you'd think, We could get through the 30 seconds on just one take, but not always.
This week on Eyes on Success, we have one of the most negative and discouraging interviews that we've had in a long time. That isn't what you want to hear, huh? I got her on that one. I like it when I can get her like that and surprise her once in a while. But it does have to come out of the show. But we saved it for you.
You are listening to Eyes on Success. Success, 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 success.
Now for this week's final item. This is where we usually provide resources about whatever we've just been talking about. After all is said and done, people seem to like the show. If you want to hear how it's done, check out some of our year-end specials. This clip is from John Shea of the Talking Information Center when he interviewed us for episode 1552, in which he referred back to episode 1352.
I can well appreciate the amount of time that must take, and I'm serious. And I'm not saying just to kiss up. I'm being honest. You do a brilliant job. You do the best job of anybody I know on the internet in this type of thing. I'm very impressed with the quality of work. I was also very impressed with that show that you did on explaining all the technology you use and everything you go through of doing it. In fact, I played that to a friend of mine because he and I were talking about doing something a little bit like what you're doing, not the...
Scared you off, huh?
And it did. Especially my friend, he said, "You got to be kidding! They go through all that?" I said, "Man, I don't have time for that. You're going to have to find somebody else to work with for this project."
And to conclude, I guess from listening to some of those outtakes, you can tell why this show takes us so much time to organize and produce. But fortunately, it's a lot of fun. And in this week's show notes, which is for episode 2331, you'll be able to find links to the complete episodes from which we took those outtakes. And you can find those always at www.eyesonsuccess.net. And if you're looking for episodes that we did about our show and how we make the show and about us, you can find those shows by entering EOS_show in the search field on our website. And that brings up those special episodes.
That's it for today's show. Next week on Eyes on Success, we'll be serious again, talking about cracking the code of darkness. Zach Tidwell was a Marine who lost all of his sight in an instant during a period of deep depression. Despite all odds, he quickly adapted to his new blindness and taught himself to program computers. We'll talk with Zach about his incredible journey, the Xanagrams app he created that is now available in the App Store, and his plans to develop future accessible apps for iOS devices.
Thanks for joining us this week, and we hope you'll join us next week to hear Zach's exciting story.
You've been listening to Eyes on Success, hosted and produced by Nancy Goodman Torpey and Peter Torpey.
You can access the full archive of previous shows, subscribe to the podcast, and much more by going to our website, www.eyesonsuccess.net. Love that tune. If you have questions about anything you've heard on the show or have suggestions for future shows, send an email to hosts@eyesonsuccess.net.
Thank you for listening and have a nice day. I have to delete that too.
Sorry.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not. That's going to wind up in our outtakes show.
Well, it just did.
I guess.